Chickens are done. We got them, cooked them about 3 hours. Hogs getting close. Welcome back to Bed Tin, everybody. What are we doing today? Cooking a hog. That's right. Doing a whole hog barbecue today. Like me and Alex are raised. So we've got a hog. We've got a self-made pit over here. We'll walk through all the stuff and kind of walk through how we do this stuff today and kind of take you guys with us as we go. We've been cooking this hog now for about an hour and a half, maybe an hour on good heat. We started at about noon here. We'll see what time we get done tonight with it. Where we set our hog up though, we cook, we set a fire pit up. We got a fire pit here. Cause all we want out of the fire is some ashes, or coals actually, not ashes. Let me rephrase that. We want coals out of the fire, not ashes. So we got a little self-made chimney here. Kind of draws heat up through it. Throw wood in there. Flame don't get out of control. We get coals. We can shovel coals out from under the bottom. With that, we have some racks made. We put the hog on. Here's an example of one right here. It's a 1x1 tubing with woven wire wrapped around it. You can use 2x4s. We've had 2x4 racks before. If you use 2x4s, don't use pressure treated. Use standard 2x4 racks or standard 2x4s. No, you want to use pressure treated wood in this at all. Every piece of wood you want to be unpressure treated. Just standard plain wood in it. We've, like I said, we've had 2x4 racks. They tend to wear out, so we made these a couple years ago. Just some 1x1 tubing, braces across, some woven wire between it to set the hog on. We've got the pit over here, which we'll open up in a little bit under the shed, because hopefully it's raining today. So we got it here under the shed. Basically, we got that rack here is laid here with a hog on it. We'll open it up a little bit and show it to you where we got it. We have a piece of plywood under a tarp. Plywood sides on the side of it is leaned up against it. Basically, we're trying to keep the heat under the thing. And yeah, this is a canvas tarp. That's right. Alex says it's a canvas tarp. That's important. It's a canvas tarp so it won't melt. All we're trying to do is keep heat under it. And what we'll do, we'll walk over to this fire. We'll get a shovel, dig some coals up from under it, come in and put the coals under his hog. And we'll walk through here a little bit when we fire it next time. We'll put coals under it. We call firing it. We'll fire it here in a little bit, and we'll show you how we put coals under it. I'll show you how the hog looks. So we got oven thermometer under here. We try to keep it about 225 under here. We try not to get any higher than 250. No colder than 220 or 200. So we try to keep it about 225. And we'll just slow cook it here for, depending on the size of the hog, 8 to 16 hours. We'll cook it meat down, and we'll show it to you here in a little bit. Once it's basically almost done, we will flip the hog over, watch what the second rack's for. We'll go through that here in a little bit too. Basically, sauce it good with some sauce, which we make. We'll go through our sauce here in a little bit. The sauce we use here is a apple cider vinegar based sauce. That's what we use here. It cooks in pretty good, it cooks off. So we'll go through that here in a little bit. So we'll sit down and sit in the shade here and enjoy it some. We'll get back with you in a little bit when we put some heat under it. 2:30. We've been cooking now for 2.5 hours good. So we got the pit open, looking at it. Put some chickens on here, cook with it. So it's a better look at how we do our hog. Yes, we cut the head off. We cut the head off because it helps plywood lay better on it. The hog's laid out like so on your rack. We're trying to fire under the shoulders here and under the hams, a little bit under the center, just so the basically just so the drippings out of hog will drip into the coals and add a little flavor to it. So again, just so you set, we got our thermometer set here so you see it. And we're gonna put a couple chickens on here, cook a couple chickens with it to eat too. Like I said, we cut our feet off, we cut the head off, and then split the spine enough we can open it up and lay it down flat like this. And we're gonna cook it like this until it's almost done. Then we'll flip it over.
to do the chickens too while we're here.
It's basically 4 o'clock here now. Been cooking for 4 hours. I don't know if you can hear that. But she's dripping. You see her dripping right here. That shoulder right there. Starting to smell good. 6.5 hours in. Chickens are done. We got them, cooked them about 3 hours. Hogs getting close. It's a little ways off still though. It's still.
It's not hard yet.
Not hard yet, is it?
No, not crusty yet.
Okay, I think it lost most of that footage. So we'll talk about this for a minute. What we did just now is we took the spare rack we saw earlier, put it on top of the other rack, took some electric fencing wire, wired it together about 6 or 7 spots, basically around the hog, making a sandwich out of it. Took 2 of the bricks, set them over to the side, picked the rack up, walked it to the other bricks, squeezed it, and flipped the rack over. So now the hog's facing, meat facing up, skin down. We'll see that here in a second. Don want to get some sauce, we'll sauce it. You can see how it looks like that. That's how we flip our hog though. Daggum GoPro lost footage, but that's basically what we're at to now. Yeah, we'll get some footage on that here in a minute though, how it looks, and go from there.
Going back this way? Alright, I got under now. There you go.
Okay, here's what we're talking about. We put electric wire on it and made a sandwich out of it.
Electric fence wire.
Electric fence wire on it.
I'm gonna set these here, okay?
Okay.
So we'll work on breaking it free a little bit.
Alright, pick it up. It's here? Yeah, that's pretty done right there. You see that?
Yeah, that's how crisp the skin is right there.
Yeah.
I see that.
Turns in good.
Gloves. Good.
Stick him in the shoulder a few times.
You want to come see what you're doing with your knife? He's opening the meat up that way the sauce goes down in there. So basically at this point the hog's done. Technically we can eat it now if we want to. We're gonna sit there and cook a sauce into it for a while. That's where you get your flavor from. So we'll sit there and cook it into it. Let it cook a little while.
Let the fat and the sauce combine.
That's right, let the fat and the sauce combined. Then it'll be ready to eat. We saw us grabbing the skin while ago. The skin was crunchy, the bones and the legs are twisting free. It's basically done.
So that means you don't have to keep it at so high temperature?
Now we're going to keep it high, that way it cooks, that way the fat and everything cooks together.
Okay. I would. I just put a little heat around the edge and let it.
Back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it another hour anyway.
Okay, I said I'd tell you sauce, I forgot. So let's talk sauce a minute. The sauce we use here is apple cider vinegar based sauce. We just see floating in the lips up there. Apple cider vinegar based sauce. honestly make it a little different each time. But its base is apple cider vinegar. With this one's got a little mustard in it, a little bit of hot sauce. I think we put sometimes Louisiana hot sauce, something else. We don't want a lot of spice to it. The kids don't like it. A little mustard, some celery salt. Basically, kind of do what else, but your base is a good apple cider vinegar base. What you want in your base. Yeah, watch out for the coals, everybody. Have much of your boots. So now it's getting dark out here. A lot of people cook at night because you can see coals. They glow. Then you can see when you drop one, you ain't melting your boot when you step on it like Dalton just did. So what we'll do now, we're gonna fire around the outside of the hog here, not directly under as much. Keep some heat under it. And get this sauce kind of bubbling a little bit and let it cook down into it for about an hour, maybe 2. And then we'll cut her up and we'll be ready to eat. Hey guys, and welcome back. It's the next day. We've got the hog off the pit. I want to go back and go through some of the footage. Well, I want to go back and go through some of the stuff we did because honestly, we got to hurry yesterday getting the hog on. And if you guys do this, one of the critical things is once you get the hog dead, you need to get it on the heat and get heat under it and get smoke under it quickly, keep the bugs off of it. So I didn't go through some of the stuff as much as I really wanted to. So let's go through it this morning for a minute. First, we're going through our burn pit or our fire pit here. Now you can have your own pile of wood to get out of. What we've done here is basically make a metal plate, set it on 4 cinder blocks in the corner. Got a grate in it and sides on it. Basically to make a chimney action and also to kind of control the fire. So it's in here, fire ain't gotta get out of control, coals fall at the bottom, that's what we want. And we can kind of feed you all along. Type of wood you use, it really don't matter. I mean, people want to say use apple wood, use this and that. Tricky is don't use a wood that puts out a lot of ash. You want a wood that puts out a good coal. Don't want a lot of ash coming out because ash will get on the hog and then you got to deal with that. So this time we use a white oak because we had a white oak top we logged this winter or last winter. So we might cut up a white oak and we use that. That's what we use for our wood this time. Now when we get in here, we'll talk about the pit some. So when we talk about the pit here, what we've got, again, we got cinder blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can go with 4. We did 6 time, kind of help hold the hog up some. We got our rack here. Our rack is 8 foot long, 4 foot wide. Basically, that way a sheet of plywood over here will sit on it and cover the whole thing up. We made it so handles come out on the end. I think that's about 6 inches, so you have 7 foot and 4 foot of cooking space on this rack right here. That's what we've got when we cook with it. Like I said yesterday, you can use 2x4s and build it out 2x4s, and it works pretty good. We had a couple like that we used for years, and it eventually got old, and we had to get rid of it. So we come back with this metal rack. And that hog yesterday was a little bit bigger than we cooked sometimes, so it dipped in the middle, so that's why we put the blocks in the middle. So what we do here is, you see our coals here. This rack would sit over here. In this area here, we would tote coals from fire and then put coals under the hog at night. And as you see, we had a pretty good pile of coals right here and right here, and just a little few here, not as much here in the middle. This is where your shoulder sat, and this is where the ham sat. That's where we put most of the fire at. Now we had some back in this area because we had chickens on there for a while, and we fired the chickens. We put just a little bit under the ribs. We try not to burn the ribs, but also we want enough it catches some juice, as you see, some drippings here, so it gets your flavor and seasons it out. So your fat comes out and renders and gets your good flavor out of it. So you're gonna cook that hog belly down like we did yesterday, and we put that hog on at noon. We flipped it about 8:30 last night, flipped it over, skinned down, and then we cooked it another hour and let the juice cook into it for an hour, or sauce cook into it for an hour. When we flip it, it's basically done. You could eat it then. What we like to do is flip it, let the sauce cook into it, and let that sauce really get in there good. We'll cut open the ham some, stick the hams a little bit, stick the shoulders, kind of pop them open some so the juice actually goes in there. Because again, we want the sauce get in there and render with the fat and kind of cook off some. That's what makes a good barbecue. Now, for flipping the hog, Gary, you can grab the hog and flip it over. You want to? But we've had seen people drop them in the fire, and we dropped them in the fire years ago. So we don't do that anymore. So we have 2 racks. We'll take that other rack right over here. This other rack. So we'll take this other rack right here, which we had. We'll set it on top of this one here. We'll get some electrical fencing wire, or or a thin piece of wiring and wire it together, and we wire it around the hog, basically so the hog don't move. Hold it here on the handles. We'll set 2 blocks out here like we got here. We'll pick it up from here, walk it here, set it down. Then somebody will hold this side here, and we'll basically rotate this over and set it back on top of the fire. That's about the best way we found to do it. And then we sauce it good at that point to take that rack off, because the meat is stuck to the rack, so to take the rack off. We put a sheet of plywood, non-treated plywood, on top of the hog. We put plywood around it. Basically trying to make sure the heat goes up and don't blow out. So that's what we're trying to do with that. And yesterday we had a canvas tarp on it. Don't put a plastic tarp on it. We had a canvas tarp. We had a pretty good breeze yesterday that was blowing against the boards and blowing all the heat out. So we had to put a canvas tarp on it over the wood to help keep the heat in there, which helped a lot. And help keep the heat in there, because your point is to keep the heat in there. And that's basically it. Ain't that much to it. Just patience. Don't get in a hurry with it. Like I said, I hope this helps you guys out. That's the reason we did this, because this is a lost art form. And it's not that hard to do, really, guys. I mean, it's not that hard to cook a hog. It's really not. You can do it pretty cheap. You ain't got to dig a hole like you do in Hawaii and put it in the ground. I'll tell you that right now. It's just time. You need some wood, you need a couple racks, you need some blocks. You need a fire. Not that much to it. And a hog. Need one of them. Also, you can do this with pork shoulders or hams. You just get a ham or pork shoulder, get uncured ham, uncured pork shoulders. You can go to your local butcher. We've done it with pork shoulders, we've done it with ham. You need the skin on it. Get with the skin on it. Cook it just like you do a hog. Meat down for so many hours. Flip it over, cook it skin down, and cook your sauce in. I've done it like that a couple times. We've done it before when we couldn't get a hog. We went and bought uncured shoulders, uncured hams, and cooked like that. They'll cook just as good, and you'll have barbecue the same way. So that's a trick out there for you guys. If you can't get a whole hog, go to your local butcher, go to your local grocery store, go talk to your butcher department, tell them you want a uncured shoulder, or a green, I think I call it a green shoulder. You want something uncured with the skin on it, and they can get you one. And you can do the same thing here. Ain't gotta have as much wood, ain't got as much heat, ain't gotta have big as pit, but you can barbecue hog just like that right there. So if you got any questions about it, drop a comment at the bottom. We ain't no experts, but we'll tell you what we do. Remember, thumbs up that video. Guys, enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Go out and get you some pig meat and cook a hog. Have some fun with it. As always, get the Lord willing, we'll catch you on the flip side. Till next.